the cool cowboy hat. This is my Wyoming hat. When we go up to the ranch in Wyoming and we play cowboy, this is one of the 5 hats that I bring up there. This is like the summer hat because it's the air can it's just a. I love hats and I love cowboy stuff. I don't know, but anyhow, if you're not watching, it's a beautiful. It's a Stetson. That's what it is. And this Stetson hat is probably maybe this Stetson hat here is this Stetson hat was made in 1943. 1943. It was my grandfather's hat, and I cherish it. It's brown with a band around it, and it's a really tightly weaved kind of real tight weaved hat. You can kind of see it, and it is so comfortable. I just love it. And so since I am a man without a barber, because Lee Michaels hasn't taken me over to his world famous barber guy, dude, barber man. So, I'm like, I don't know where to go. I'm a man without a barber because my barber retired. She retired after 25 years about 3 weeks ago. And so I've been like barberless.
Your barber
Barber,
probably retired because you didn't come see him often enough.
well, yeah, but when I did go see them, they knew that I didn't go to any other barber because my hair would be down to my butt.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
So
but still,
I
you
was
got to go.
loyal, man. I'm loyal.
Yeah, but you got
That
to go
means
every
something.
2 weeks.
What?
You have to go see him every 2 weeks, not every 6 months.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, man. That's like $40 every 2 weeks.
Well, that's a cost of
40,
being
40,
Jesse T in the place to be.
rocking the house for you and me. The Brown Beauty is on duty. Thanking Lee Baby Michaels for that introduction. Oh, baby. And the girls go, ah. Boys go, ooh, ooh. And the horse goes, ooh, ooh. Yes. Okay. All right. All right. So,
Hey, I've got
what
a
am I
yellow
holding?
shirt on also.
I got 2 sets of headphones here. I'm going to put the other one and try to shove it in my ear here. Let me see. Where's this one going to? Wait. Maybe if I. Yeah.
Why? Why do you need to do that? You're going to hang yourself?
Because I got a couple of things going, man.
Yeah, but you
You
don't need
know?
to hear the other guys, right?
No, but they got to hear me over on the Facebook site.
Oh, that's right. You don't have the little gizmo hookup like we have here at the studio.
I'm not Gizmos, man. I am just not. I'm like Virgin Gizmo right now.
Ah.
I'm Gizmo without a lover.
I'm sorry.
I am too, man. You see that visual Gizmo without a lover?
Yeah, that's rough.
Okay, it's Friday in Southern California, I believe, and I am not a happy camper. I'm not a happy camper, and I'll tell you why I'm not a happy camper. And I'm just going to get right into it because here at thepowervoices.com, we try to speak some civility. We try to kind of put everything in perspective, and we try to bring everybody on an equal level here at the radio station, the global distribution network of radio to the world. We try to give everybody the opportunity to express their views and to come to some sensibilities and logic. It doesn't matter what your views are here at the powerofvoices.com. We always try to bring everybody into our family and let everybody have their way of saying what they need to say and try to come to some resolve, some compromise so that we can all coexist together. In fact, to the radio station here with the 70 plus shows or so that they have on the 70 plus hosts of all different variations and ages and beliefs and understandings. And we all seem to be able to coexist together. And some of us, like myself, are very outspoken in what we believe in. It may ruffle some feathers around here, but we respect each other and give each other the honor of allowing each other to speak our words. And we may disagree and argue a little bit, and we have a lot of fun, taking pokes at everybody. It doesn't really matter, what your ethnicity is or your religion or what part of the world you're from or how old you are. We take fun pokes at everybody, and everybody understands that we're just trying to provide an opportunity for folks to get their words out and maybe learn something from somebody else that you don't really necessarily know or understand their ideas going in, but coming out, you realize, there was a couple of things in there that sort of make me think in a little bit of a different pattern that make me feel a little bit better. And that's what we try to do here at thepowerofvoices.com. And I sit back sometimes when I'm watching the news and I'm silent. I don't have things to say because as our news becomes more violent and violent every day, I'm just talking about general, regular news. I remember the days of Walter Cronkite. I remember the days of when Fox News first came on board. I remember the days of CBS and NBC and ABC and the first 60 Minutes shows coming on board. And I remember the days when the first African Americans, black folks, white folks, brown folks, Asian folks, all working together in a radio station or a TV station for the first time. I remember there was some civility and some courage to move to the cause. And people had an open mind for the cause because it was the cause that was so important. And people today just have sort of, in my opinion, lost all civility. It really comes down to just understanding and being civil amongst each other and having the opportunity to understand their position, though it may be passionately the opposite of yours, but try to have a discussion about that idea that you or they may have and come to some meeting ground in the middle so that effective and positive change can take place. And so I'm not a real happy camper right now with what's going on. It just seems to rub me wrong so much. Everything that I'm seeing and the murderous cops that are out there, the murderous criminals that are out there, the murderous perverts that are out there, the murderous attitudes that everybody has, young, old. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. The reason why I am wearing my cowboy hat because I feel like I've gone back to the wild, wild west days after watching what took place in Dallas over the last 24 to 30 hours. We were doing the Jesse T show, the fabulous Jesse T show last night from the Maserati dealer when all this stuff was going down, and caught it afterwards when we went over to Norm's to have a kind of a little dinner after the show. Dan, the man, the project, and I, and I just was dumbfounded by the whole thing. It left me speechless, but left me very angry. And when I get angry later at night, it aggravates me to the degree that I have a really hard time sleeping. I didn't sleep last night. I stayed up all night long, not necessarily watching the news, being busy and working on projects and stuff, but I stayed up all night long because every time I tried to go to sleep, I had this anxiety feeling in me, this aggravation. Not an anxiety feeling of fear or anything like that. I just was plumb aggravated, agitated, angry, just mad at what our society has become and what we've allowed ourselves to stoop to in this great country, and how we have allowed ourselves to be manipulated by our passions and our fears and our emotions, and how wrong we all are about all of this. It is just a terrible, terrible thing. Saying hi to Isaiah Pickett, who's got us on the next big thing. What a great pop artist up north, man. And we're going to put him in the studio with Rocky Allen Bird pretty soon. And he's going to make some great pop music. Look for Isaiah. Saying hi to Takia Barra Yolanda Hill. She says, hype the juice. It's refreshing. Well, I'm having some tang. I remember the first time at my grandmother's house when the astronauts came back from their first Apollo mission. And one of the things they had was this orange stuff called Tang. And the reason why they had that, it was explained to us, because you couldn't drink liquid in space because it would fly because there was no gravity. So they had this powdery substance, and they would break a little plastic bag, and it would mix with the water in the plastic bag, and they'd have a straw, and they'd drink it out. And so this became the rage of one of the many great experiments and one of the many great scientific, ingenious inventions that the Apollo program had. And Tang was always my favorite. And today, it still is one of my favorite and refreshing drinks, Tang. I love Tang. I love to freeze it, have a Tang popsicle, crushed ice Tang, like a crushed Slurpee Tang. So, I came back from those great missions to the moon. And President John F. Kennedy, he put the decree out that within 10 years, we would be going to the moon within 10 years. And by golly, we did it. And we did it because of an effort by everybody in this country, a national effort to come together under one working idea by a great leader, a great leadership president who didn't live long as president, but he accomplished a lot of wonderful things in his short span of time. He pushed on the civil rights movement with his brother Bobby Kennedy. He was the first one to stand up and say, look, we're going to do something about this in the South. We're going to go after the KKK. We're going to do some stuff here. We're tired of what's happening. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make some difference. We're going to make some change. He pushed us to go to the moon and explore, be explorers. He challenged our minds at that great speech at the Wall of Berlin. He said great passages like, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. Where did all of this go? Where did it all go? I mean, are you kidding me? Cats running around Dallas, a block and a half away from Dealey Square, where JFK got executed on the X, where I've been at least a dozen times standing there scratching my head. Are you kidding me? Some numbskull, crazy, maniacal maniac with an AR-15 and a pistol shooting at cops, and he's trained. Weapons don't kill people. Crazy, idiotic, moronic jerks kill people. I mean, I'm glad they blew that guy up with a robot friggin' bomb. I wish they blew him up with a bomb and threw acid on his body so it would deter right into the cement. Cut the cement out and drop it in the deepest ocean in the world. I mean, where did it all go? I mean, you want to strap on and become the wild, wild west again? Wyatt Earp traveling down Dodge Boulevard in Dodge City where I've been? You want Smith and Wesson to be the law of the land? You don't want any cops out there? You people who are all up in arms, black people should live. What about white people? What about white lives that matter? That idiot there's out there shooting up, and he said, I want to shoot white cops. Racist SOB. What about Asian people? You Black Lives That Matter people. What's that all about? Don't you care about Asian people? Don't you care about Indigenous Americans? What about Polish people? Don't you care about Irish people? Don't you care about white people? Don't you care about mixed people? Don't you care about people from Russia? Don't you care about people from Chile? Don't you care about people from France and Germany? Don't you care about Nigerians, Ivory Coastans, Algerians? Don't you care about Jordanians, Iraqis, Iranians, Malaysians, New Zealanders, Australians? What's wrong with you people? Each and every one of you. What's wrong with each and every one of you people? It's ridiculous how you people are acting. And I'm blaming you. Yes, you the people. You're being manipulated by the government or a bunch of low-life, backstabbing, two-timing pieces of crap, lying pieces of junk. They get up there and they get wooed with the sexual activity of power and control. You trust them? What's wrong with you? They're manipulating you like you manipulate a rat in a cage. Don't you realize that? Don't you realize you're being manipulated? You're being pushed and moved. You're being coerced. And they're laughing at you. Laughing. You're out there killing cops. White men killing cops. Black men killing cops. White cops killing black people. Black cops killing black people. Asian cops killing white people. White people killing Asian people. Black people killing Asian people. Asian people killing white people. White people killing black people. I mean, what? Purple people killing orange people. People that like orange popsicles killing people that like yellow bananas. People that drive cars backwards killing people that drive cars forwards. People that have 2 feet are killing people that have 1 foot. People that got brown eyes are killing people that got green eyes. What the hell is going on? I'm aggravated. I got to drink some friggin' Tang. I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, I do get it. And today I'm going to talk about how I get it, because you're on www.thepowerofvoices.com. You just entered Jesse Terrero's world, the world according to Terrero. That's right. It's a Jesse T show live at 5. Straight on the point, and I'm fed up. I am fed up. When I was in high school, when I was in junior high school, Bird Junior High School is where I went to school in Sun Valley. Bird Junior High School. And when I was in high school, the really smart kids, who happened to be all Japanese at the time, because where I grew up in part of the San Fernando Valley, there were lots of Japanese people. The San Fernando Valley folks, for you folks who might be in Connecticut or North Carolina or Ohio or New Jersey, it's just about northeast, about 30 minutes, 40 miles, 50 miles, just this side of downtown Los Angeles, if you Google map it. The San Fernando Valley had a pretty cool way about itself. It was really the example of suburban America. And most of the people that were here before the San Fernando Valley that was developed prior to World War II, and from about the turn of the century in the 19th century or 20th century, early 1900s, to about the end of World War II or the beginning of World War II, a lot of the San Fernando Valley, the northeast section, were all owned by long frequented Americans. Americans that have been here, some of them as long as 100 years before World War II, or even farther back. Good American, wholesome families that love this country, put their kids through school, spoke English as their primary first language. Yeah. Can you imagine? They came from another country. They came thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. And they came to this country and they became Americans. They learned the English. They learned how to read and write. They learned how to conduct themselves as Americans. They learned the mores. They learned the ethics and the morality of being an American and what it meant. And these people started businesses. And these people loved to be farmers. And here in the San Fernando Valley, there's a street called Lancashire. And the San Fernando Valley is 250,000 square acres. Pretty big. It's a nice big ranch. 250,000 square acres. It's the size of New York City, the San Fernando Valley. You could fit New York City, Manhattan, in the San Fernando Valley. That's how big it is. In fact, it's bigger, but it fits right there. 250,000 square acres. And one man owned half of it, and 2 other men owned the other half. And when they passed away and their families broke it up and they sold it off, some of the first peoples that bought here, not too many years after that, about 50 or 75 years after that, early part of the 20th century, late part of the 19th century, were people that came to this country to start a new life for their families and their children. And they loved this country. And they grew food for you and me to eat and our ancestors. Good people. I bet you don't know who those people were. They weren't the Chinese. They weren't the Irish. No. I bet you couldn't guess. Could you guess? Maybe not. They weren't African Americans or black folks. They weren't the Mexicans or the Spaniards or the French. They weren't Russians. You know what they were? They were Japanese. Yeah. Japanese. Yeah. There were so many Japanese farmers in the San Fernando Valley, it was unbelievable. After Mulholland brought water to the San Fernando Valley, the Japanese farmers started moving here and building huge farms. Japanese farms were everywhere. Thousands of acres owned by Japanese families who passed those down from generation to generation. Their children, their grandchildren. I knew a lot of these people when I was in junior high school in the mid-1970s, the late 1970s. I knew the grandsons and the granddaughters, and sometimes in some cases the great-granddaughters and great-grandsons of Japanese folks. And so when I was in junior high school, what is this middle school crap? What's that about? You know, who started middle school? You know, you're junior high school, middle school. You know what that happened? There was a bunch of lawsuits here in California and around the country that some people felt that their children were looked at as lesser people because they were juniors and not seniors. I guess all the people named Junior after their dad are less people, right? I guess Carl's Jr. is less of a hamburger than McDonald's. I mean, if you're a junior, they should call it Carl's Middle. They should call it, instead of it being, Frank Sanchez Jr., they should call him Frank Sanchez Middle. Never understood that. We are junior high school. That's what we were. We didn't care. So a lot of the smart folks at my junior high school, a lot of the smart folks were Japanese. Yeah. They were the wizards, man. They were the mathematicians. They were the engineers. They learned how to speak Spanish and French and German and all those languages that were taught in junior high school. They learned business. They learned to be industrious. They learned farming, even more farming, science, and a lot of people picked on them. I came from a private school, Village Christian School, up to 8th grade. And when I went to Byrd Junior High School, the neighborhood I grew up in, I knew a lot of guys there from the neighborhood. But I also didn't know a lot of guys from the neighborhood because there was a bigger pool of kids that went to that school than my private school. And it used to bother me because these kids were picked on. They were known as the geeks, the smarties. They used to call them the smarty pants, right? And I called them that too. And it bothered me that people would pick on them. So I saw one kid, Wade Shinshato, and he was getting picked on by a couple bigger guys. He was a 7th grader, and these guys were 9th graders, and he was getting picked on. So Wade went to class, and I tracked down these couple of guys. I knew them from the neighborhood. I knew them, because I grew up around them. And I tracked them down later that day, and I said, "Look guys, stop picking on Wade. Stop it. He's my friend." And they started, cussing at me. We knew each other, and they started, No, I said, "Really? And stop picking on Wade. Really. Oh, what are you going to do about it? No, really. You need to stop picking on Wade. Okay? No. Here's the bottom line. As a 14-year-old, I said this. Look at, I liked to fight. I do. I like to fight them. I had no problem with it. Went out every weekend, got lots of fights with Jerry Baca, my buddy, Jerry Contreras, and Crazy Frank. Yep. Said, look at, if you pick on Wade one more time, and when I find out about it, I'm just going to tell you, it'll be an interesting time for you and me. Now, I didn't use those words, of course, but I'm paraphrasing for a family show. And so one of them did pick on Wade a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks later. So we were at lunch, and he was picking on Wade then. So I walked over and I hit him with a chair. Yep. I hit him with a chair. You know why? Because I told him not to pick on Wade. I don't like people that pick on people. Pick on me. Come face me. And that's kind of how the creed that I was raised on and how I felt. I didn't get in any trouble. I had to go see the principal. I went home. They let me go that day. I told my mom and dad, and my mom and dad said, hit him with another chair if he does it again. Yeah! Here's the point. What happened? What happened to Americans defending Americans? What happened to people standing up for each other? What happened to do right just because it's right? To fix what somebody has messed up? What happened in my lifetime that we have come to the point where we're just becoming a nation of friggin' murderers? What's going on? What are you people doing? We got enough domestic enemies that are being allowed in this country without being checked up. We got enough people in the world that hate our guts. We should stop hating each other. Stop what you're doing. Stop fighting with the police. Police, stop shooting people. If you do something wrong and the policing agencies do something wrong, I'm the first to come down on them. Because they're no better, that individual is no better than another individual that walks into a convenience store and pops a 45 in somebody's head. They're the same. Whether they got a badge on or not, they need to be prosecuted, arrested. And you know something? They do. But the news media, the great, wonderful Oz in the sky, the news media, they don't talk about that. They don't talk about the cop that gets thrown in jail for 25 years. They don't talk about the cop who goes and saves somebody's life running into a burning building in a hail of gunfire. Because the news media is only concerned about one thing: your eyeballs watching them, so they have 20 million viewers so that they can make more money when they sell their advertising time to General friggin' Motors. It's all about the money. So much of this violence is going on and being perpetrated and escalated because there's a social, anti-social agenda to pit us against each other. Don't you see it? Don't you hear it? This is 2016, man. Don't you get it? They've taught you how to kill without any emotion from the time you were born with these stupid games. They taught you how to hate just because of color. They've taught you how not to accept responsibility and accountability for your own actions. They've taught you how to be a bunch of fat sissies. That's why we got gangs in our neighborhoods, because the dads don't care. The dads are a bunch of cowards. Something happens in my neighborhood, I get up out my butt, walk down the street, and say, I'm here. You want to ask my family someday? They'll tell you me. I'm not saying I'm any better. But what I am saying is I am better. Because I don't allow myself to be manipulated by the soothsayers and liars and storytellers of the world that make us hate black men and women, that make black women hate white men, that make our society hate each other. All what you're seeing right now is a perpetrated act since the end of World War II to make us hate each other so that we break up the American concept and family, which they've already destroyed. The CIA went into Harlem in the 1970s and hired black men to sell crack and crack cocaine so they could drive around in the big friggin' Cadillac. The CIA used to land planes in Arkansas when Clinton was governor, full of coke, distributed to the gangs, the Crips and the Bloods in Los Angeles. Come on, people. Don't you know anything? Biggest drug dealership in the world is the CIA. How do you think they bankroll most of their murderous acts? Oh, yeah, we need the CIA. We need them to take out our enemies abroad. But understand what's happening. Just don't walk across the stupid freeway and get hit by an 18-wheel truck and wonder, hey, why did I get hit by an 18-wheel truck? Hey, what's wrong with you, 18-wheel truck? Why are you hitting me? Hey, dumbass. You walked across the freeway. Didn't anybody tell you? Don't walk across the freeway. There's another way to get across to the other side. But they created impatience in us all. They created a false need of wants and desires and aspirations that are just a bunch of bull. Because when you're at your dying days and your back is hopefully facing God and the blue sky and heaven, and your boots are off and your hat is by your table, and you have a few loved ones around you, and you got a smile on your face, and you say, I did not regret my life. I did everything that I wanted to do, and you love your wife and your kids, and you might have a few people that are there with you, a handful. That's all there's going to be. You think the 96-inch big TV is going to come down, sprout legs, and give you a kiss on the cheek goodbye? Or how about your Bugatti or your Lamborghini or your big friggin' watch the size of a gosh darn basketball? I don't get that either. Why do people have to have a watch the size of a basketball? What's that about? I don't care how many diamonds you got on your watch. What's wrong with you? Who are you trying to impress, insecure little baby? Yeah, I'm aggravated. I'm aggravated. I'm going to take a drink of my Tang. I'm aggravated because we American citizens have allowed ourselves to be subjugated to what is happening in our country today. We have allowed it to happen. You and me. I'm not doing enough. We've allowed it to happen. We've turned the other way. If it doesn't affect us, we don't care. Oh, it didn't happen in our town. It's all right. Oh, this. No, no. Oh, she's getting beat up at the restaurant by her boyfriend. I don't want to get involved. Oh, You know, we become a nation of sissies. Everything that happened at Dallas is our fault because we put those people in government. It's our fault. Because we don't take care of our veterans when they come home. It's our fault. Because we impose free sex. It's okay. So there's 60% divorce in 2 years in this country. It's our fault. Because we allow this crap on TV in prime time for our children to see. It's our fault. Because we don't read enough Bible. We don't read enough of the Quran. We don't read enough of the Torah. We don't read enough of spiritual guidance. We don't understand and we don't digest it and believe it. It's our fault. Because we don't teach people how to use weapons. We don't teach people, we don't conduct enough tests with them to make sure they are psychopathic, ideologically disgusting, perverted people. It's our fault. Because we follow these political lines and we follow them with blinders on us like a horse in a parade. We don't open our minds enough to understand another point of view and say, maybe, just maybe, I need a little adjustment. It's our fault. It's our fault that our kids don't go up in a tree and fall down and break their arm. It's our fault. It's our fault that we don't allow our boys to have a little fight out in the front yard when they're growing up. It's our fault. It's our fault that we allow perverted, sick, disgusting teachers, boys and girls, men and women, to abuse our children at school. It's our fault. It's our fault that we have these people going 97 miles an hour down the freeway when you only should be going 55. Because they don't care about your family in your van. It's our fault. It's our fault that we allow the corporations to have such great power over us, just as long as they give us some feel-good things and make us feel good. It's our fault. It's our fault that that guy's up there taking shots at people. It's our fault that police are killing black men, white men, Asian men in their parked cars. I stand up and I talk about the fight against human trafficking. I stand up and I talk about the fight against pimp trafficking. I stand up in front of city councils and mayors. I stand up in front of police chiefs. I stand up in front of senators. I stand up in front of the corner. I stand up in front of anybody, anywhere, anytime, and say my piece about these dirty, disgusting pieces of varmint trash that impose themselves and abduct our children. Snap them off the street. It's our fault that we allow that to happen. It's our fault that our society has fallen to the decadence that it is. I ain't no prude. Everything you've ever done, I've done 1,000 times. Except I've never taken drugs. That I never did. And I never understood drugs. Now, I really never did break the law either. Mischievous things. It's our fault that we let the graffiti on the walls because everybody's afraid, you see. Everybody's afraid to do what it takes in order to make change. Our politicians are afraid because they won't have a job. You know, the city council here in Los Angeles, LA city council members are the highest paid council members in all the United States of America. Folks, if you're living in Florida right now, you're listening in Atlanta, hey, it's www.thepowerofvoices.com. We're broadcasting here from Southern California in an undisclosed location near LAX. It's the Brown Beauty on duty, Jesse Terrero, the Jesse T Show, live at 5, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6, straight on the point. If you're out there in Kansas City and Chicago, and you're out there in Tulsa, you're out there in Bismarck, you're in America listening to us on the internet, on our global distribution network, AV TV Live. Let me tell you something. LA City Council members, the 14 of them, you know how much money they make per year? You ready? The president of the United States of America now makes $450,000 a year. The senators make about $225 or $250. The congressmen make $175 to $180 a year. Okay? Do you know how much the mayor of Los Angeles makes? About $300,000, about just under $300,000 a year, $296 or so. The chief of police, Charlie Beck, he makes somewhere in the area of almost $400,000 a year. Okay? You know how much LA City Council members make? Now, you think about the chief of police, the mayor, the president, the senator, the congressman, right? LA City Council members make $190,000 a year. Yeah, that's right. Did I knock you off your seat? Did I knock you off your seat in New Mexico? Our buddies out there, $190,000 a year. Do you think they're going to do anything to jeopardize their $200,000 a year gig? That's $4,000 a week, folks, per year. Take taxes out. They're coming home with $2,500 in their pocket. They're coming home with $10,000 a month after taxes. You think they're going to do anything to jeopardize? No! They're not going to stand out on a limb and stand up for something. And even if they do, they won't be voted out because everybody else won't work with them, and they'll get nothing done for their constituents, and they'll get voted out the next time around, and everybody will hate them, and that'll be the end of their political career. You see, it's our fault. It's our fault that we have these knuckleheads running for president. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. We got a habitual liar and a murderer, as far as I'm concerned, because those cats in Benghazi, she murdered them. And there's so much documentation on stuff that she's done in her life. I don't think anybody in their right mind can ever vote for her. You should be voting for Mr. Magoo or Gumby or Pokemon. They can do a better job. And you got Donald Trump. Okay, there's a guy. Donald Trump, businessman. Come on, man. Come on. Can't you put 1 and 1 and 2 together? That's 1 and 1 and 2. That's 4. Look at presidents go in. Most of them are multimillionaires. They come out. Almost all of them come out 100 times wealthier than they were when they went in. Donald Trump is 70 years old. He's about at the end of his deal making. He's turned everything over to his children. They've got now 50 years of deal making for the family and for themselves. So his deal making is just about done. He's done all the deals that he's ever going to do. This is the ultimate deal. The ultimate deal. Become president of the United States. Whether you think he's worth $1 billion or $10 billion, I promise you at the end of 4 or 8 years, because he's going to get elected, I can't imagine him not. Whether I want him or not, it's not relevant. Whether I want Clinton or not, it's not relevant. What's relevant is you better get on the drag strip with the dragster, otherwise you're going to lose. You don't put a Volkswagen bus out there. That's what's relevant. He's going to come out worth, what, $100 billion? Come on, it's the ultimate deal for him. And this is the best we got. This is the best we can put out. This is it. I've been watching a lot of messages and a lot of post ups and a lot of Facebooks and Twitters and Instagram lives and Snapchat about what happened in Dallas. Each one of those men, they had families. They're just doing their job. Those two boys that were killed in Louisiana and Minnesota, what did they do wrong? What did they do wrong? It's disgusting and sad that we have to tell our children that when you get pulled over by a cop, when you get pulled over by a police officer, keep your hands on the wheel, put a smile on your face, keep docile in your attitude, answer the questions succinctly and directly with a positive smile and an attitude. Don't be angry. Say yes, sir, no, sir. Show respect and honor. Tell them every move you're going to do before you do it. Sir, my registration and insurance is in the glove compartment right there. May I reach for it? Wait till he gives you the command to do that and ask him, thank you, and reach for it very slowly. And keep the other hand on the wheel. It's sad that we have to treat ourselves to protect our lives. But these guys are afraid. I wouldn't be a cop. There's no way in God's creation I would be a police officer. There's absolutely no way I could be a police officer. I couldn't do it. To be in fear of your life every single day. I don't care how macho they are, women and men. There's that tape recorder, or that memory card that's going off in the head. I dated myself, didn't I? Tape recorder, the memory card. I made up for it though. The memory card that's going off in your head, saying, "Is this my time? Is this the date? Is this guy a psychopath? Is this guy going to walk out? Is this guy going to blow his car up? Is this guy a fanatical nuthead? What, you know?" There's no way. No wonder they're all divorced. Hell, I'd divorce myself if I was a cop. I'd go to an attorney and say, I want to divorce myself. What? Yeah, I want to divorce myself. I can't live with myself anymore. I love this hat, this cowboy hat. This cowboy hat signifies a lot. It's when this country was being built. The cowboy hat is a combination of the Mexican sombrero, which was very big because to keep the sun off the face of the caballeros, right? The cowboys. And so the Texans developed this hat, and the people from Wyoming, the Texans primarily, developed this hat because they didn't want the brim to be as big, but they wanted a nice big brim enough to keep the sun and the rain and the snow off their face. I love this hat. I love cowboy hats. Signifies when America was moving ahead. And that's what we got to get back to, folks. We got to get back to a family of Americans. We have to get back to the point where we look at each other and we say, are you going to kill me? We can't do that. We got to get back to the point where we got to say thoughts that don't have that in our heads. We've got to stop pulling our weapons. The police have to stop and reevaluate their own inner fears, their own inner prejudices. We're all prejudiced. Every single one of us. We're all racists. We all discriminate. If you know anything about history, and you've cracked any books in the last 20 years of your life, and you've read anything about history, you'll understand that what we're doing today is nothing new. There's nothing new in the world. It's just new for us because we're here. But there's nothing new. It's just like bell bottoms are coming back, you know? Skinny jeans, right? All that stuff, you can date that stuff back to times of Frank Sinatra in the 1930s. There's nothing new. Everything comes in a circle because the world exists and goes on. And new life is born. And new life knows nothing of the past. They only know what they know as they grow. Unless we teach the concept of understanding your past so you can know where you fit in the present and you can change the day to make the future better for yourself. It's a simple formula. It's not that complicated. Who hasn't been whacked by their mother? Huh? Hey, so what? Your dad beat you up a little bit. Whoopie friggin' do. Come on. America is a special place. It always has been, and it always will be. It truly is the last shining city on the hill. It's a beacon for the world that everybody wants to come to. America is uniquely gifted by the proximity of where we are located in our hemisphere on the planet Earth. We've been protected by two great oceans, by a frigid North Pole, and by a wild, turbulent tip of Chile where the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean meet. We've been fortunate to not have to deal with the lunacy and the insanity of Europe and those neighbors and the Middle East and Asia. We've been left unto ourselves. And we still are the fortunate city on top of the hill. We are the beacon of logic and common sense. We are the lighthouse of law. We are that shiny piece of gold that everybody wants to be. We, Americans, now more than ever before, have the opportunity to be great, greater than we ever have, because of our technology, because of our smarts, because of our hard work, because of our never giving up attitude, because of those ideas from the old West, because of those ideas that immigrants have brought to our country, wanting to be part of something special. We have a chance again in the history of this great nation to set the tone, to set the pace, to say, we're back. And we don't mess around with what's going down. We have a chance as a people and a nation to flex our muscles and be leaders of the new globalization of this planet. The multiculturalism. Think about that. More people are playing soccer now. than ever before in America. Right there is a simplistic example of the multiculturalism of America. 40 years ago, that would have never happened. Soccer was the greatest game the world's ever seen and more played by anybody than any other game, other than the game they play in India, that kind of baseball-ish game. You know what I'm talking about. Cricket. Who would ever want to play a game called cricket? At least call it horny toad, or at least call it big fat lizard, or call it bald eagle. But you called it cricket? What's that all about? I would never play a game called cricket. I might play a game called cracket. We have a chance in this great nation to be great again, to lead the world down the path of freedom, to lead the world down the path of unity, to lead the world down the path of love, to lead the world down the path of military might, to lead the world down the path of the greatest and most ingenious people God has ever created on the planet Earth, and put us to live together for the plan of a mixture of a great race of human beings. We have that chance in our generation, in this place, at this time, right now, at this moment. We have the chance to rise above the ashes of those idiots in Dallas and those people that hurt people and kill people. We have the chance to be better than we have been, to be better than we were. We have the chance to live that dream, to live that dream, to live that aspiration, so that we can walk down the streets, so black man can marry a white woman, so a white woman can marry an Asian woman can marry a Mexican woman, and no one gives a friggin' rat's ass. We got a chance so that a Christian man can preach in the temple of an Islamic man, and an Islamic man can preach in the temple of a Jehovah's Witness woman. We have the chance to be a great country and a great leader of the world in a new order of people that can come together and say, we're Americans from the United States of America. It's about time you start waking up and understanding that we are the greatest nation with the greatest people and the greatest come togetherness. We just got to get going on it and stop killing each other and hating each other. This is the world according to Torero. This is the Jesse T Show, live from 5 to 6, Monday through Friday. Straight on the point. All I got to say. God bless America. God bless your families. I pray for greatness for all of us and calmness. Have a great weekend. The Brown Beauty is off duty.
Good show. Good show.